And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player himself, the Brazilian Zerg. And what does he stand for? He stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo. It is Erik. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, the Brazilian Protoss, representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. Let's go. Let us go. We are getting into our final series of the broadcast, the grand finals, los grand finales, papi. We have our best of 7. Again, Erik does start 1-0 as he comes in from the upper bracket, MasTeR coming in from the lower bracket instead, and we'll see how these two compare in that rematch. Now, in the previous series, Erik was going for a lot of cheeky builds. He was going for some hatch blocks, of course, a lot of hatch block play out of Erik. We also saw Erik go into his own, not just hatch blocks, but also he was able to go for an all-in on 10,000 feet, mining through the middle patch and going for a massive link flood. We did see a lot of early pull timings out of Erik as well. Here we'll see how we do adjust in a bigger and a longer best of 7. For now, hatch gas pool, standard opener. We do have MasTeR coming in with the probe scouts, and we'll confirm that everything's looking normal this time. Previously, it was just all early pool timings, early gas timings, proxy hatcheries. Here on Winter Madness, standard play. Standard play. I mean, standard opener, I should emphasize, as MasTeR should just be going for a Stargate opener into Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, Erik, we'll see what he's been indulging in as of late. So the thing with Erik is that I feel like he goes through phases. I feel like every patch, or basically every patch, every season, Erik, he does go in and he does kind of like adjust his style depending on what the meta entails. For a long time, Erik, he was going for macro hatcheries, for example, going for a fast macro hatchery and going to a stronger mid game into Ling Roach mutaplay. It's very fun to mutaplay in ZvP. But that was last year, right? That was 2025 Erik. 2026 Erik, we'll see. What do you have for us? We saw a lot of ultra play against Kamikaze earlier, but that's specifically for ZvT. Things they fan out. Stargate back in the main base for MasTeR. So far, everything's looking normal. Erik, oh, going for the low ground third. That is interesting. Bearing in mind, there was no pro block from my understanding here on the right hand side. So often this base is very, very difficult to defend, difficult to maintain. Often this base does signify aggression, right? Usually it means that Erik wants to be active, wants to be aggressive, wants to keep MasTeR on the back foot instead, and not worry about defending back at home. If this was for a longer macro game, I'd be concerned for Erik, but I'm imagining here more aggression. Erik, he does pull out of gas. Link speed is on the way, he does pull out of gas, only leaving one in that gas geyser, and we'll see what the mid game looks like. Erik, he was going for a lot of delayed Evo chambers and delayed +1 melee in the previous series against MasTeR. Here, we'll see. Because the map is so large, mutaplay is viable here on Winter Madness. So that's going to be in the back of my mind. Potential mutas. 16 lings on the way. That's a lot of lings on the way here for Erik. The plan here should be to force a cancel on the third base. That should be the goal. As soon as they poke in, Twilight Council's been thrown down, delayed forge. Here come the rest of the Zerglings. There is going to be the Oracle back at him to defend. Yeah, the Oracle will defend. Erik does try to hit the natural instead. The Adept is under fire. The Oracle will zone this away. But hey, Erik kills a pylon. So nice pickoff. Second Oracle has arrived, and MasTeR, he stays at home. Oh, stays at home with one, moves out with the other. So Erik just trying to catch any transferring workers. Back at home, Roach 1 and Evo Chamber should be +1 melee based on what we've seen so far out of Erik. Into a Ling Roach heavy composition. Wings, they once again activate the pulsar beam. And it is +1 Blink Stalker. So standard follow-up here out of MasTeR. Into a heavy Blink composition. There's that delayed +1 melee out of Erik, which he has been going for. Nice catch of the robe. Oh, not quite. Probe does get away. And for now, we are just calming down. We're calming down. Erik mass expanding, getting a macro hatchery, getting his own 4th base. Ooh. Starting back the Oracle, we have 18 more Lings on the way. And we'll see if Erik can break that 3rd. Again, it is going to be a lot of Zerglings. Now, this style that Erik's going for actually reminds me a little bit of Dark. I don't know if you remember this, but this was what, in like 2023? It was in the Ancient Cistern map pool. But Dark, it was very often going for Mass Ling, early upgrades in ZvP, and what this led into actually was fast Ultra Tech, to like keep the pressure up with Lings, delay the 4th expansion, apply pressure on the 3rd base, keep the Protoss player at home, and then eventually snowball out of control with Infestor Ultra. I don't know if that's the direction that we're heading in. We do have Roach Speed on the way, so probably not, but there's the infestation bits. It feels eerily similar. Yo, meanwhile, a big shout out to Cian in the chat. Papi guy, Cian, obrigado, papi, obrigado. Welcome, welcome. Bienvenidos. Hey, actually, in theme, we are casting Amantes. We are casting Amantes de StarCraft. Brazilian StarCraft. For the Brazilian raid. True, true. Yeah, things that do come in from behind. Stasis Trap is going to be going up. Oh, do we bait it? We do. It does get baited out. That's a lot of Lings going down already, and the Stasis Traps, they just continue. Oh my god, so many Stasis Traps. Yeah, so many traps. With that, Erik is in trouble. Stalkers, they do break through. They bust into the 3rd. Into the 4th, I should say. They will get a kill. Yeah, massive pig. Our 4th base goes down. There's the recall back home. Does get 2-3 Stalkers in the retreat. But that was a rough loss for Erik. Was rough. Now he has to counterattack. Back at home, what do you have to defend? 1 battery. We have 1 battery. Cannon is on the way as well. A couple of zealots. We have okay. I was curious what the infestation was for. I thought it was going to be for Fast Hive, but no, it's going to be for Swarm Host. Okay. We got 5 Swarm Hosts on the way. Specifically on this map, the natural base is a little bit more exposed, so there is potential for damage. But this is really unorthodox. So Swarm Host play is seen in this matchup, but it's typically only seen against Archon Drop openers. If you open up Archon Drop into charge, the reason why Swarm Host can work well is because that means there's no Blink Stalkers, right? Without Blink Stalkers, it is much more difficult to keep up with Swarm Host. Same with, and likewise, there wouldn't be any Oracles either. But against a Blink heavy start here, it is quite risky to go Swarm Host. It is very, very risky. As MasTeR is posturing. Erik, he goes to the dive. He wants the Archon and he will get it. Oh, just barely. Did cost Erik a lot of Lings. And we're actually going to use this almost defensively. Okay. Defensive Swarmhost. I mean, against an Archon heavy composition as well, like, it's Locust Waves, they don't really do the most. Erik going for the counterattack. Locust Wave is coming in. As Erik will break through the side defense and recalls on cooldown. Locust Wave is cleaned up real fast, and MasTeR pushes forward. Yeah, he does break through the main army, pushing towards the natural. MasTeR, this army cannot be stopped, but at the same time, we're trying to go for the base trade. Yeah, we are trying. Erik turning back around. Nice Biles. Biles are connecting. But there's just so much Protoss here. And MasTeR chases down the Swarm Host. Sends them away. We have a couple of roaches trickling in, coming back home. But it's not enough. There just aren't enough roaches. There just is not enough on the ground for Erik. Erik, he does kill some of the mineral line, but probes still survive. And again, this main army cannot be dealt with. Cannot be dealt with. Local saves, they do buffer. They do help somewhat. Roaches coming in from behind. Okay. Erik, does he have enough? Nah, there's Zealous. Yeah, there's Zealot reinforcements as well, and MasTeR, he is snowballing out of control. Again, the Stormhost ideally would have been used to be aggressive, but Erik was forced to be defensive, right? He was forced to be stuck at home. MasTeR was just so active, so aggressive, and MasTeR, he has broken Erik. Snowballing out of control, breaks that natural, breaks that third, breaks that fourth. There's going to be one Locust Wave left. Uno más, baby, uno más. One more wave of locusts. Meanwhile, Zelda get into the main. They bust into the main base. Catch more workers, 6 more drones going down. And behind this, MasTeR freely mining on 4 bases. He's on a 4-base setup, getting into a 4-base economy. Thankfully, Erik does have a base here on the bottom left, so he does have an economy to sustain himself. But the reality is that he's just stuck on Ling Roach, and Ling Roach does not scale too well, not against this kind of army, as we build up more Archons, more Chargelots, more Blink Stalkers, and even Storm has begun as well. Yeah, Storm is on the way. As Harry blinks in, punching the Stormhost. 2 Stormhosts already going to be going down. And he stands and fights. Oh. Breaks through the main army, catching out the final couple of roaches here. Chasing him down. The Stormhost as well. Da-da. GG gets called. GG gets called. MasTeR ties up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. MasTeR does tie the series up here. Again, it was a rough opener here, a rough mid-game for Erik specifically. Erik, he did invest into a massive amount of Zerglings, but it wasn't really worth it. He was able to apply some pressure, but the Oracles did amazing defending, right? The Oracles very, very efficient when it comes to keeping up with all those Zergling harassments. Likewise, we also saw the follow-up be very shaky as well. A lot of it did also come down to the stasis traps. If you recall, Erik, he was trying to hold on to his 4th base, but we saw, what, 3-4 stasis traps connect, and with all those stasis traps going off, Erik couldn't save his 4th. And once the first 4th base went down, that's when the ball started rolling, right? That's when Erik, his economy was stifled, his production was stifled as well. All stemmed from that initial engage, from initially losing his bases. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we are getting into game 2, going to be loading into Tourmaline. This time we go from one of the larger maps into one of the smaller maps instead. Let's go. Loading into Tourmaline. Now, I do favor Erik on these smaller maps. These larger maps, it is easier for the Protoss to defend, easier for MasTeR to defend, to build up, and to get past the more aggressive nature of Erik. Here, this is where it's going to be a little bit harder. As spawning in the bottom hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the Brazilian Protoss player, the Brazilian Protoss, the red Protoss, tying up the series 1-1 for Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings being forced into that series. It is Erik. Let's go. Posture check in the chats. No slouching. No slouching, baby, no slouching. As we're getting into Tourmaline, and I feel like this is where Erik should now be unrestricted. Now he should be unbound, as Erik, he does embrace a much smaller map in the map pool, where he can be a little bit more dynamic. Again, last game we saw relatively standard opener out of Erik into Ling aggression, that's true, but the Ling aggression wasn't really worth it. This time, hatch gas pool, standard opener, no drone out on the map. True, no drone. Your Esther Blaker dudes, God, thank you so much for subscribing, for resubscribing even for 33 months, papi. That's crazy. Almost 3 years of support. Thank you, papi, thank you. Do appreciate it, Blaker dudes, do appreciate it. Gracias. Hope you continue to enjoy the content, the casting, the StarCraft. Hope you enjoy. Gracias. Thank you. Esther Blaker dudes. As for now, we are still going to be building up. I just hatched gas pool, standard opener so far out of Erik, and we'll see where that takes us. So welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is a smaller map of the map pool. It is very open in the center, very short rush distance, very direct rush distance as well. There's no points of elevation, there's no choke points here in the center either. You do have some tall grass. That's like the one thing that you can utilize defensively in your favor. Outside of that, attacks are very direct. Likewise, third bases are very open as well. Very open third bases, very open fourth bases. So we'll see how aggressive Erik plans on being. As so far, he does pull out of gas. Pulls out of gas, gets into link speed. Likewise, we do have the Stargate open out of MasTeR, going for the Stargate as a part of the wall. So MasTeR being a little bit greedier here. The Overlord does, of course, confirm the Stargate. So Erik is aware. Erik is aware. We're going to have a handful of links on the way here just for map control, just in night vision, and then we join. And we join up. I see Ravaniadas in the chat. Wow, so now we have some players from the CranKy Ducklings competing pro tournaments. The opposites, I should say. So we had a lineup of pro players back in the day. For those that are maybe a little bit newer to the channel, we actually competed in World Team League. The CranKy Ducklings, this was back during the COVID era of StarCraft. Around, when did we first sign our players? 2021, maybe 2021, 2022ish era of StarCraft. We initially signed our Australian pro roster. We had Oreo, we had Starduck, of course. Then we signed our Latin American players, which was Ryu, Neo, and Erik as our 3 Latin American players. And eventually we also signed some America's players as well from the Americas, from the US of A, which was Dolan, Vindicta, and Patty Mac as well. So we actually had a pretty large roster. I don't mind being transparent about this. The reason why we could afford that, by the way, as we did salary all of our players, was at the time we were the official B stream for like all the Dream Hacks and the ESL Pro Tour. Like we were doing a lot of B stream content. And of course, we're being contracted by ESL for that. And basically, all that money we just put into paying players, basically, to have a pro roster. Obviously, nowadays, many years later, EPT is no longer a thing, right? There is no ESL Pro Tour. So as a result, you know, over time, like we had to let our players go and hopefully find like better places and better teams and more support as well. Dolan, he eventually found his way onto Detonate, for example. Patty went to China to study. He was and he streams every now and then. Miguelito Vindicta, he likewise went over to the Platinum Heroes. Oh, so we did catch out the first Oracle, but Vindicta, he went to the Platinum Heroes, where he did have a bigger salary, and before eventually again like pseudo retiring and now just being mainly a streamer. Neo, he finished the bar, papi. He became a lawyer. Neo, and he graduated and he got his degree last year, I want to say. Neo. Ryu nowadays doesn't compete anymore. Now he just mainly streams. And Erik, he's like our only active player right now. Erik. Oreo, he's lost, you know, in the rifts. Like he's Oreo. Tells me he still plays, but he just doesn't compete anymore. Oreo. And Starduck, he's just all up in Kerrigan survival nowadays as well. But many years ago, like we had like an active roster. We were competing in team leagues and playing in a bunch of tournaments. Nowadays, Erik, he's our last boy actively competing. Erik. Got a lot of love for him, of course. A lot of love for Erik. But yeah, basically, back in the day, we could afford like a proper like active roster. Back when we were the B streams. Meanwhile, we are moving out. We had a relatively standard opening here, building up our Ling Roach Ravager. Lings to do counterattack across the map. MasTeR, he is committing here on 3 bases, by the way. He's got 9 gateways behind this. Meanwhile, this time the station traps are going to be picked up. Nice and Isle. Yeah, this time we have Vials, we have Ravagers. Denies the stasis, pushes further out. But again, MasTeR is committed. 9 gateways. 9 gateways behind this. MasTeR is very committed here. No forge, no +1. It's a 9 gate all in. So MasTer's all, oh, wow, that got Dark, is that you? Biles down the oracles. That should not have happened. Ay. Does bile the oracles down, and with that, remember, the longer this game goes on, the better it is for Erik. MasTeR is all in. No forge, no upgrades, no tech, no storm, no colossus, no splash damage. You can see fake gases at the 3rd, so no extra gas income, no 4th expansion. Like, this is straight up an all in out of MasTeR, and the all in is failing. So fun fact, it was actually MasTeR trying to all in on Tourmaline. I mean, we expected aggression from someone. I expected it from Erik, but Erik, he's successfully defending. Erik was able to get to 3 base saturation, just under 3 base saturation, building up in a mass Ling Ravager. And MasTeR, now he throws, oh, the Prism goes out as well to the Queens. Now we get a Temple Archives. Now we have Storm on the horizon, but it's so late. It's so delayed. Again, MasTeR was trying to kill, was trying to end the game earlier, and now Erik snowballs out of control. Gets into the natural. Sentry goes down. Yeah, Sentry falls. We get some decent force fields, but the Biles, they do deal with them. They break them down. Things they do break through. Yeah, they break through into the natural. So we catch up more sentries. GG gets called. Yeah, MasTeR just cannot engage. He is overwhelmed. And Erik, he will take a 2-1 lead in the series. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, winding it back, sorry, we were a little bit engrossed in going over some of our history when it comes to the CranKy Ducklings. But again, GG, well played. MasTeR, he went for a 3-base 9-gate all-in with limited gases and a Warp Prism as well. But as we saw, the Sage Trap went down, the Oracles were deflected. Erik, he did cut workers early. If Erik had drone up further, remember, Erik, he cut workers like at 54. Under 60, like under 60 workers. Erik, he cut it early, so he had an abundance of units to work with instead, and he was ready for said all-in. And once the Prism went down, once the first push was deflected, it was looking worse and worse there for MasTeR. It didn't help as well that Erik did pull off a Ling counterattack, crippling the economy and weakening the all-in. GG. GG, well played. With that, Erik, he does take a 2-1 lead, and now we're getting into our next game. Going to be loading into game number 2. Sorry, game number 3. Let's go. So again, there's actually Erik being the defender, but staying on a lower worker count to pull that off. As we get into game number 4, we're going to be loading into Ruby Rock. And we'll see if MasTeR is tempted to be aggressive again and to go for another all-in. Or is it Erik's turn, Bappy? True. Is it his turn? As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ruby Rock, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings, going for a 12 pool. He's not droning. He's going for the 12 pool. It is Erik. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss himself, the Brazilian Protoss, representing Team Hellfire down in the series. It is MasTeR. Go. Let us go. As behind this again, we do open up with the early 12 pool. MasTeR going for a standard opener himself, and we'll see how hard Erik commits here. 12 pools do not have to be all in, by the way. This can lead into like a Ling Flood drone pool. You can see like the most extreme version, or it could be 12 pool for early Ling aggression into an expand behind this. Erik does move out with the drone, so he is going for a proxy hatchery, and we'll see if he goes for the block or if he does go for something more committed. As for now, he's rallied towards the wall. And with this rally, I believe he should be looking to disrupt the wall off here to make it easier to engage here with the production, with the buildings, with the Sim City. Lings are coming. MasTeR is not gone into the main base yet. He does not know. Hatchery is thrown down, and with that, the wall is disrupted. So it's going to be a messier wall here from MasTeR. Lings are flooding across the map. Some of the boys are being pulled. Chrono boost here on the Zealots. And we're going to try to deny this hatchery here. Again, we have this. We have the cyber core here on the right-hand side. We can still try to fully wall here with a second gateway and with another couple of buildings. We'll see. We shall see. As Erik is expanding, is going to be delayed. Erik, he did want to expand behind this. First Zealot. Oh. Does barely survive. Nice support with the probes. Hatchery's getting low. Hatchery getting very, very low. One Zergling goes down. There's soon to be a second Zealot. Gets a probe. Gets one. And he has to respect this. He has to respect those Zealots. Once again, has to pull away. Erik is still Ling flooding. He's not done. He's not done. Oh. Yeah, Zings, they do go in for the surround and they might catch one Zealot, but now there's going to be an Adept as well. Yeah, is it too much? Yeah, is it too much? In the end, it looks like one Zealot will fall. Just one. There's still one Zealot remaining. Queen is on the way. Hatchery down less than half HP. Erik is off so much already, but he is gaining a foothold. He's gaining a foothold. He does get on the final Zealots. Ooh, the battery is not yet done. Whole damage on the Adept. Oh my god. Yeah, it does do whole damage. The Adept does get very, very low. And, oh my god, will not go down. The battery does finish up just in time. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, the battery is done. Queen does pop out. Does go for the injection. Lings, they trade against the probes. They do, the battery's out of energy. Uh-oh. Yeah, the battery is out. Queen is low. And MasTeR holds. MasTeR, so far, he is holding. The Queen barely gets away. One shot away from going down. No, the Queen! Oh my god. Get out of here. Yeah, the Queen should fall. Oh my god, just barely. We still have 3 Adepts left over. But that was a lot of probes going down. And fun fact, Erik is still making Lings. He's still making Zerglings. Yeah, more Lings flooding across the map. Still no gases. Erik is still committed. There's soon to be 4 Adepts though. Oh. Attempts to surround. Yeah, locks down one Adept. Does try to, but there's so many Adepts to defend. There's too much DPS. Yeah, there's too much DPS. Lings, they're just going down one after the other. Erik cannot break through, not with this many Adepts. There's too many. And now he starts droning. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Erik, now he's droning up. Late drones, late saturation. Stargate is complete. Void Ray is on the way. That's the killing blow here. The fact that there is a Stargate. And all these Adepts as well, true. MasTeR going for the counterattack. Erik is supply blocked. There's one Queen at home to defend. There's one Queen. Ah. There was potential to kind of break this position for sure, but there were a couple of moments where the Zealot barely survived, where the Adept barely survived as well. Void Ray is at home. Adepts say move out. And I feel like Erik shouldn't be able to deal with this. There are just too many. Does snipe one Adept finally. Does get that one. But there are too many. As things they collapse in, they will get one more Adept. What a mass backy. Might even get 2. Not quite. Yeah, not quite. As Erik, he's denied mining here at the natural. Forced into the main base. Link speed is on the way. MasTeR recovering back at home. Does he have an Oracle? No. No Oracle yet. Just now starting. Adaptation into the main base. They should go down here. Yeah, drones, they're being pulled in. Link speed is almost done. With link speed kicking in here, Erik does have a bit of a power spike, but there's a full wall. There's a full wall back at home. There is still no warp gate. That's really slowing down MasTeR. No warp gate. But the Void Ray moves in. There's only one Queen to defend. The one Void Ray. No. So there's 2 queens, my apologies. There's 2 queens back at home. There's a lot of hull damage. Lings, they encounter a full wall. And no shot we macro out of this, right? I mean, no shot. We might. As the Oracle is going to be zoned away. Behind this, we have our Twilight Council. Twilight Council most likely into Blink or even into Glaive Adepts. That would be ideal here, to be fair. To go into Glaives. And this wall should not be broken. Right, the wall is solid. Lings are found. There's a world where Erik, if he's left alone, he could try to recover and drone back up, but the reality is that this should be Glaives, right? It should be a hyper-aggressive follow-up here from MasTeR to just punish Erik. That should be the plan. Glaives are on the way. We have our Glaives. And there's just not really much of it. I mean, there shouldn't really be much of a chance for Erik to recover. There's a world where if MasTeR makes mistakes, if he slips up, if he has some miscontrol, of course, but you never want to be in a position where you're relying on your opponent to mess up. Especially with this many Adepts. Oh boy. As we shade across. Yeah, shades across the map. Now, there are some roaches in production. We can see Erik fully walling off, but Erik doesn't really have the economy to sustain proper roach production here. He's got 3 roaches on the way. Adepts, they hit the 3rd. 3rd base will go down. Honestly, we could just dive on the queens. As I said, MasTeR just settles for the expansion. Brings down the 3rd base. Third, pushing further out. Getting us over the roaches. Oh no, he shades in. Yeah, he shades in as well. Breaks through the wall. And he splits. Yeah, shading only into the main. Catching another queen. Pulling Erik apart. So far, no economic damage, but drones should soon be going down. Shading back out. And sure, Erik, he retains his workers, doesn't lose any drones, but MasTeR, he's up by 20. He's up 20 workers here, 63 pros back at home. We have Erik going for an all-in, going for drop lures. Nunes has carapaces on the way. I mean, it's the only way, it's the only chance here for Erik. Does have a decent roach counts, but there is that Blink Stalker transition. If it was only Adepts, then maybe, but MasTeR's getting ready here with a mass amount of Blink Stalkers. He has a second army. Strap-ons out. Adepts are falling. Double Oracle into the main. Just checking to make sure there's no hidden tech, there's no like spire behind this or anything like that. And again, MasTeR is more than ready. Oh god. There are how many? There are 23 stalkers back. That's crazy. 23. GG gets called, and MasTeR ties up the series 2-2. We have a back and forth. GG. Whew. GG, well played. We do have a back and forth here. Again, MasTeR does tie things up. But winding it back, we had Erik going for a 12 pool Link Flood all in as well. There are variations where you can drone up behind it, but no, Erik, he doubled down. He committed into the 12 pool, and we saw that he was gaining some momentum, but not enough. We saw that it took too long to break through the Zealots, took too long to break through the Adepts as well. There were a couple of key moments where we saw MasTeR barely slip away, avoid the surround, and keep these units alive for a little bit longer, and every little bit did count, did mean that many more Lings being thrown away, and that much more inefficiency out of Erik. GG. GG, well played. With that, MasTeR does tie things up, and now we're getting to game number 5. Going to be loading into White Rabbit, now getting into one of the larger maps of the map pool. Okay. Getting into a larger map. And I can't imagine we'll be going for a 12 pool here on forward. There's a chance to maybe 12 pool on a map like 10,000 feet. But outside of that, we should be going for some more standard openers at least. This morning in the top right hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the Brazilian Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss. Oh. Representing Team Hellfire, it is MasTeR. Tying up the series. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the Red Zerg representing the CranKy Ducklings, being forced into a tied series. Can he bring it back? Can he take a lead? It is Erik. Here we go. We do have a series. True. We have a series back. So just setting up. From here, we do have Erik once again going early gas. Okay, we've seen this now. This is the third time this series. I say this series, this broadcast. We did see this earlier in the broadcast in the initial meeting. Early gas into early link speed into a later expansion. Now, yes, on the one hand, we're going to really fast link speed and we're going for the early link aggression, but I believe that typically Erik, he does drone behind this. He will expand, he will drone, but we'll keep an eye on Erik regardless if he does pivot away from this. But now, the probe, yep, there we go, there's the expansion. Probe does confirm. Is aware this is not a 12 pool. So Erik, he does move out across the map. MasTeR back at home, does not go for the early Zealots, but we should be chronoing out the first Adepts, defending back at home. We'll see what Erik can get done. Yeah, as long as they break in, they pull away, and behind this, we're just droning. As I mentioned, so early gas, early link speed. From here, we're just droning up. We're pulling out of gas, so we're getting into our natural and double expanding to make up for it, to build up in towards the mid game. This is kind of Erik's go-to opener here in ZvP, at least from what we've seen this tournament. As we have seen this often lead into just 3-base saturation into Ling Roach. Meanwhile, Stargate as a part of the wall. Overlord does get eyes on the next pylon. Does get eyes. As from here, MasTeR he'll claim his third. Just playing standard Oracle opener into his third base into early game map control. Really, we're just kind of looking for any kind of big deviations so far. So far, we're just droning, saturating, defending back at home as well, building up into what should be a Ling Roach. If we see an earlier lair, for example, then we'll take note of that, earlier gas income, or even from the side of MasTeR, if we see, say, a late Forge, early Twilight Council, that can be indicative of something a little bit different. Ah, as that is going to be a lair first. Okay. Also 4:10-ish lair timing. Interesting. So early lair. With an early lair like this could be for me to play. I know that there's a Roach one on the way, so we can go a couple different ways here. We can go into Roaches, into fast Roach speed, into Roach aggression, into potentially even a Roach all-in, or we could have a Roach one just for safety and go for something else. Ah, okay, it is an all-in. Overlord speed is on the way. We're going for a 3-base all-in German taxi. Again, at this level of play, you would never get Pneumatized Carapace unless you plan on morphing in Dropper Lords. You'd never get it just for scouting, for example. As MasTeR does threaten the shade. Doesn't commit. Roaches are building up. Erik cutting workers, you're at 46. That's a very low drone count, actually. That's what, 2-base saturation, essentially? Very, very low drone count. Queens are loading into the Dropper Lords. The taxi's coming. Roaches are amassing. Now, when it comes to MasTER's setup, MasTER so far, he hasn't scouted this all in. He's not aware of what's going on. MasTER is getting into +1 and blink. Standard follow-up here out of MasTER. And no batteries. You can see here, no shield battery at the natural, no shield battery at the third base. MasTER has not pieced it together. He now sees no drones though. This should be a tell. This should be a tell here. As the ZvP busts into the mineral line. Back at home, batteries now being... Now he's aware, but is it too late? Here comes the all-in. He's throwing down batteries at the third. Nothing at the natural. And ZvP run into reinforcements. And that Stargate is exposed. True. Exposed Stargate. The Oracle takes a lot of hits. Oh, a little bit of miscontrol here as the first Queen does overextend. Oh, and one Queen. Oh my, the pickup. Very clutch moves out of Erik, but the Queen is still low. The Queen is still low. Yeah, it does hide behind the Roach Ravager. Do need to be careful. There's a transfuse. Lings, they almost collapse on the Stalker, but Blink is done. Nice time with the Cybercore. Cybercore goes down. What you see is what you get when it comes to Blink Stalkers. Batteries do finish in time. Oh, going for the batteries themselves. Vials do connect. But there are none of Zerglings. Yeah, none of Zerglings. They cannot quite break through. Vials are good, but not quite enough. Yeah, not quite. As we do lock down the Zealots at least, but again, we're spending a lot of Zerglings here. And without Zerglings, we cannot break through the Stalkers. So many Zerglings going down. The Natural's opening up a little bit more, but again, without Lings, yeah, the Stalkers, they get on top of the Ravagers. Ravager's going to be going down, and MasTER, he's holding. Ooh, MasTER, he's holding on here. Again, it was a late scout, late reaction by MasTER, but he will clean everything up. Breaking through all the Queens, breaking through all the Ravagers as well. The all-in is failing. Behind this, we have +1 melee on the way. We have Roach speed on the way. Erik is trying to transition out of this, but he has no drones. He has no drones. He has no saturation, and with that, Erik, he will lose everything. He's down to 1 Ravager. And there was potential. MasTER, of course, did scout there. And again, it takes seconds, and in those precious seconds, did react in time. Got his batteries up and running, built up his Stalker count as well. Oh. Erik trying to come in for this round, gets shut down by the Stasis Trap. And MasTER takes on the final Ravager. GG. GG gets called. MasTER, he takes a lead in the series 3-2. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, initially I was on board with the all-in here from Erik as he was hiding it quite well, but eventually MasTeR realized what was going on. He did realize it, did piece it together. With that, MasTeR was able to get 2 batteries at the third base, 2 batteries at the natural as well, and with that, he was not losing a single Stalker. Like the Stalkers, they were able to be retained over time. Hyper efficiency there out of MasTeR with those Blink Stalkers, and Erik just did not have enough to break through. Not quite enough there. GG. Did snipe the Cybercore, which was nice, but maybe it took a little bit too long for that to happen. There was still plenty of Stalkers to work with there. Some of the production was exposed as well, but the Stargate was a non-factor. It was just all about those Blink Stalkers. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're now going to be loading into game number 6. Oh, let's go. Yeah, we're loading into game 6 here. Going to be loading into the Old Republic. Again, MasTeR, he does take a lead in the, oh, there we go, sorry, just fixing up the score. MasTeR does take a 3-2 lead in the series, and we'll see if Erik can force the ace match. Oh boy. So we are loading into one of the final games of the series. And spawning in the top right hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the blue Zerg player. The blue Zerg player representing the CranKy Ducklings, being forced, or now falling behind in the series. Can he recover? Can he bounce back? Can he force that ace match? It is Erik. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself, representing Team Hellfire, leading the series 3-2, 1 game away from claiming this best of 7. It is MasTeR. Let's go. Let us go. As we are going to be opening up. And this time, hatch first out of Erik. Okay, remember last game was gas first. This time, hatch first. Welcome to the Old Republic. This is a larger map of the map pool. Aggression is favored on this map, typically though in the mid game. I'm referring to defending the third and defending the fourth base. That is where the game can get very spicy, but that's off of like a 3 and 4 base economy, not so much in the early game. So we should be expecting something a little bit more tame initially coming into layer tech. So we'll see how Erik will approach this. We shall see. But yeah, touching on our pro team, like there was a time where there were a couple of players that we almost signed as well. Like there's a couple of players that come to mind. Arch, the Polish Arch, for example. I know that he wanted to join the team. Trigger's another one that we reached out to potentially become a CranKy Duckling. This was before he joined Basilisk, of course. This was back when he was still an up-and-coming player. But Trigger's a big one. Eba's another one as well. CranKy Duckling adjacent. Davito, true. Does anyone else come to mind over the years? Those are the only that come to mind initially. I know that we flirted with the idea of getting Chamon, El Chamaco. I remember we didn't want too many Zergs, like because we had a lot when it comes to Latin American players. We had Erik and Ryu. Like we already had Erik, we already had Ryu. So I wanted to diversify a little bit. I remember. I'm trying to reach into the recesses of my mind. Trying to reach in. Oh. Let's go. For now, we're just going to be calming down, getting to our own hatch gas pool. Link speed on the way as well. Pulling out of gas, droning, saturating. So far, just a tame opener here. Everything's, I mean, when I say tame opener, I should also emphasize this is maybe the most standard opener that we've seen so far out of Erik this series. Just hatch gas pool into a third, like nothing fancy, nothing too wild here. We're calming down, Pat. We're calming down. MasTer's claim is third. Once again, just Stargate opener into a third base. It's hard to be aggressive here once the Oracle comes out. Like the third base should be safe. Second Oracle's on the way. And that is an earlier Twilight Council. Okay. This is earlier than normal. Because of that. Okay. So Twilight Council to Forge. This might be for fast charge, or we might just go Blink again. And the purpose of the early Twilight Council would just be in case it was like an all-in coming. In case it was like a 3-base all-in, then Blink would factor in defensively. Nice run, MasTeR. Going to be a 420 Roach Horn timing, standard Roach Horn timing here, just being safe. Evo Chamber into most likely +1 melee. And melee's on the way. And it is going to be Blink. Now, how many gateways? We have a bit of a gateway explosion here, getting up to 4 gates so far. We have already seen previously in this game, in this series on Tourmaline, we have seen MasTeR go for a 9-gate 3-base all-in. With the Robo and with the Warp Prism. So we'll keep an eye on the gateways. As MasTeR's being active. Everything looking normal so far. So far MasTeR just poking in. Erickson pulls away. 2 more gates get thrown down. We're getting up to 6 gateways. This is standard. Like 6 gateways is kind of what we expect. Any more than 6, and that's something to take note of. Yeah, gases are being taken. This is a sign here of further tech. This is a sign of either Storm or Colossus. Based on the fact that there's no Robo, we're leaning towards the Templar Archives and Storm. As things like collapse in. They clean up the Adepts. Erik claiming a center expansion, getting into Ling Roach. And it is going to be that Storm. So again, like this is, it goes both ways here. I was going to say earlier, of course, that like this is the most standard game that we've seen out of Erik. This is the most standard game we've seen out of MasTeR as well. Like this just 6k Blink into Storm, off of a Stargate opener. Oh, that's one Oracle does get caught out. From here into Charge, into Storm, into Archons, the High Templar. We do have the Infestation Bit on the way here from Erik, and we have already seen Erik attempt to go Swarm Host previously, and it did not work out well for Erik, but that's because MasTeR was being aggressive. If you remember, that was on Winter, I think it was on Winter Madness. Yeah, on Winter Madness. With MasTeR being a little bit more passive and being more macro oriented, then Swarm Host might have a place here. Like they might be more useful. Hello. That's Overlord Speed. Erik, he's cutting workers early here. Erik, he's getting a 6th expansion, but he has not joined up his 4th. Sorry, he's getting a 5th base, but he's not joining up his 4th. He's cutting workers early. He's cutting workers at 3-base saturation. This is a 3-base all-in. Oh, or is it? So we were bringing up Swarm Hosts earlier, and there it is. Swarm Hosts are indeed on the way, but we are still not saturating that 4th expansion here. Very, very low drone count. We have more drop lords or more overlords on the way for eventual drop play. And how committed are we going to be as we have 9 Swarm Hosts? That's a lot of Swarm Hosts amassing. Okay. I mean, we mentioned on Winter Madness how Swarm Hosts can struggle when your opponent's being the aggressing player, but MasTER has been very passive this game. MasTER, he has only moved out with Adepts and with Oracles. He has not actually had a main push. So he's giving Erik a lot of time, giving a lot of freedom. As we're building out more Swarm Hosts, there is a direct path into the natural where a lot of the tech is actually. True. Erik, he still hasn't joined, by the way, this entire time. He has not been joining. Locust wave towards the 4th. Ling Roach distracting on the left-hand side. Nice Storm on the Locust. Storm is spent. Another Storm with the Roaches. Do we bring down the Archon? The Archon will go down. Not bad. Brings down the Archon, more reinforcements coming in. This is a shaky trade here from MasTeR, losing a lot of his high-tech units. High Templar and Archons. I'll switch down the roaches. Locust Wave is almost ready. Do need a little bit more time here. Got a couple of Locusts trickling in. Swarmers are kept alive. And the way that Erik is using Swarmers here is interesting. So usually, against this kind of composition, you have Ling Roach Ravager. Technically, you're saving money by going for Locust Waves instead of Zerglings. And hey, they're trading well. They collapse on the oh my god, so many Stalkers go down. Yeah, Stalkers are going down. The army's being broken. The Locust Wave does come in, catching a couple of High Templar. Breaking through the sack defense, and this low ground base is being broken. It's going to be going down. MasTeR is fighting for it. He will lose his Archon. 0 hits. Oh, he does warp into my Templar, but he needs time for Storm. There's Yenji overcharge. He has 1 Storm. Yeah, he has 1 Storm available. Erik, he does not care. He sells on the water. He goes for the kill, and he breaks on through. GG gets called, and Erik, he will tab the series. We are going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Very interesting use of swarm hosts here, where swarm hosts are usually used to harass and to like pull apart your opponent's attention. Here instead, they were used to reinforce the army, and they were used in kind of to substitute Zerglings instead. Usually it's Ling Roach Ravager, and it can be difficult to keep those Zerglings going. We've seen that in other games in this series, where once the Zerglings start running out, then the aggression ends, right? The aggression does end when you run out of Zerglings. But here, instead of having Ling support, we have the Locust Waves, and they as long as you can keep the swarms alive, you just keep having those Locust Waves to keep the pressure up. Remember, we cut workers early on 64 workers. Like, Erik was very much so 3 base all in. He was 3 base all in, but an interesting variation with 9 swarm hosts with non-stop Locust Waves, and eventually he did break MasTeR. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're getting into the final game of the series. We're going to be loading into the ace match. We're tied up 3-3, and we're getting into game 7. Going to be loading into 10,000 feet. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Brazilian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg. Representing the CranKy Ducklings, he's one of our own, papi. He's our boy. He's El Patito. It is Erik. Stands for endurance, righteousness, intellect, and kangaroo, the most important part, papi. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Brazilian Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Team Hellfire. It is MasTeR. Here we go. As we are getting into our next game, as we are diving into our as we have found ourselves in the ace match of this best of 7 grand finals. We've made it all the way to the final game of the series on 10,000 feet of all maps, which means we have confirmation the vetoes were Mothership and Celestial Enclave, 2 of the more extreme maps out there. Does make sense to get rid of them, as Celestial Enclave does favor defensive turtle heavy Protoss play. Meanwhile, Mothership can favor Zerg players, especially with some of that RNG factor and how open some of the bases are. So we got rid of some of the more extreme maps, and we find ourselves on 10,000 feet. Now, here on 10,000 feet, short rush distance by ground. True, short rush distance by ground. The last time we spawned in on this map, Erik did mine through these minerals, and he went for a massive Ling Flood. But we don't want to do that again here in tonight's broadcast against the same player. So this time, hatch, gas pool, standard opener out of Erik. Standard opener so far. Love Storm. Storm hosts are a very niche unit. They're very, very niche. But I have noticed that Erik, he does like to come up with certain styles that make use of them, right? Like, we have seen like 2-base Storm host all-ins against Terran, or last game, again, a 3-base all-in with Storm host against Protoss. But once again, that was very niche. I do think that was heavily reliant on MasTeR being the defender, right? On MasTeR being more defensive and being more just being stuck at home as well, not really being active on the map. That's where Storm hosts can struggle if you're on the back foot trying to defend and survive. But it was very unique usage of said Swarm host. Very unique. As with that, we are now building up. We do have our initial 3-base setup here. Link speed is on the way. Erik, he does pull out of gas. Now, typically when it comes to 10,000 feet, it is a little bit easier to be defensive, specifically in regards to the 3rd and 4th base. Protoss players, we have seen them be quite successful at turtling up on 4 bases and building up as well. But what I will say is we haven't really seen that kind of style out of MasTeR, outside of last game, where he was being more defensive. But typically we've been seeing MasTeR be more active and aggressive and kind of fight Erik for map control. That's usually how MasTeR approaches this kind of game. We'll see how he approaches. Like, I feel like a lot of this is going to be on MasTeR and his approach to 10,000 feet. Erik's still just droning, taking his spores. From here, we're expecting a safety roach warren and an Evo chamber. Those are our expectations. So Oracle pokes in. Once again, early Twilight Council into a Forge. We're expecting +1 and Blink. Actually, let's take the forward base. Let's take the forward expansion. And we're settling into our game. Oh, this time, despite the Forge, we're going into Glaive Adepts. Okay. Bold move. +1 isn't really going to be a factor coming into assisting the Glaive Adepts, but this will be a factor when it comes to the follow-up. Extra gateways being thrown down. There's no 4-gate glaives. We're getting up to 5 gateways. We might even go up to 6. So a heavy commitment here from MasTeR. But Erik does get a safety roach warrant. And all we need is roach production. Like, if we play it safe, we make roaches, then Erik should be okay. Likewise, Erik, he has yet to scout across the map. He's not moving in. Yeah, well, does move in. I mean, seeing the Forge screens Blink is the issue here. And he will not even see the Forge. Yeah, the Overlord Scout is denied. Erik's not aware of what's going on. He's not aware of that. Erik going to be zoned away. And behind this, Erik thankfully is making some safety roaches, and he isn't running up too much. Like, this is the issue with going Glaive Adepts against Erik, because that's a lot of Adepts, that is true, but Erik is not one to drone. Like, even when he's greedy tech-wise. He doesn't often drone up too heavily. He's adverse to droning, Pappy, so he's somewhat ready for this, somewhat at least. Gets one Adept. Does get one. Roaches are ready. Adepts are deflected. At the same time, Lings, they try to counterattack. They will get eyes on Stalker reinforcements. Hoping to delay the 4th. These Adepts are at least keeping Erik busy, but Erik is getting ready for his own breakout. Roach speed is on the way. This one is done. MasTeR has +1, now working on +2. We'll have that upgrade lead. And Erik, he's now droning. He does not move out. I assumed that he was going to just break out across the map and push, but no. He is gaining map control, that is true, but he's droning it behind this. And once again, Infestation Bit, are we once again looking for Swarm Hosts? We've seen it twice now in this series. Seen it twice. Do we see it a 3rd time? There it is. Swarm Hosts are on the way. Again, I did find it quite fascinating with how they were being utilized earlier. But we'll see if we can get away with it this time. Yeah, Lings, they collapse on the Stalkers. Nice pickups. Ooh, catching it 1, 2, 3 Stalkers. 4, Blink is late. Yes, I'm missing control there by MasTeR, bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. That's 5 Stalkers going down. Some expensive losses. Swarm is still building up. Soon to be 11 Swarm hosts. Okay. Getting up to 11. Catching some of these Stalkers. I'm not quite able to. Does get 2. Yeah, 2 Stalkers go down, but all the Lings are going to be running out. And here comes a Locust Wave. Locust Wave will buy some time. What I appreciate here is that we're staggering the Locust Waves intentionally so only a couple of Locusts. We'll still have another wave. We don't want to waste them. Yeah, Ling's going to be diving in. Coming in for this round. Oh! I mean, there's no stasis. Yeah, there's no stasis right behind us. A lot of Stalkers are going to be falling. Do we have that Locust Wave? Well, we're using it. Mineral Line. Okay. That's a bold move. Yeah, very, very risky here. At the same time, drone's going to be going down. Adepts, they do shade in. Yeah, they shade into the Mineral Line. 14 drone kills at the same time. Locust Wave into the 3rd. Does he kill the Nexus? The battery. Yeah, the battery does help, but the Nexus will still go down. Massive pickoff. Down goes the base. So Erik, he may have lost the Mineral Line, but MasTeR is only mining on 3 bases anyway. He's long distance mining. So we have that back and forth. Locust Wave is resetting. He can go for it once again. Do we go for the Nexus or do we go for the army? Remember, there is no splash damage. Locust Wave being sent. Pushing towards the southern base. Do we get both bases? No shot. Center expansion is going to be denied. Locust Wave here into the main army. Picking up Zealots. Yeah, catching out Zealots, catching out some of the side defense. The base does survive. Yeah, messy defense here from MasTeR. Erik, he's maxed. Microbo Shroud on the way. Ultras as well. We're getting there. Working towards Ultra Tech. Casito, papi, casito. But again, it was so risky holding onto that Locust Wave for as long as Erik was. In the end, it paid off. Stalkers just blink forward, which means now we can trade. Ooh, yeah, that was a crazy blink. Losing 3, 4, 5, 6 Stalkers. Heavy losses here from MasTeR. He blinked into the Locust Wave. Does save the base, but at the cost of a Mineral Line and a massive chunk of Stalkers. That was not worth it. That was 13 Stalkers going down. 13. And we just keep doing this. We just do it over and over again. Going for another wave. Stasis Trap will help. Erik, does he notice? ZvP, ooh. Couple of piles deals friendly fire. Yeah, friendly fire at the same time. Erik comes in from the right hand side. Locust Wave is coming in as well, but there is a stasis. And stasis traps are triggered. We still unload though. Yeah, they still land. And that's still 2 pylons going down and 13 probes. So much damage in so little time. Duh. 13 probes, and MasTeR just can't keep up. He cannot sustain these losses, not anymore. MasTeR being forced into the all-in. Roach pushing forward. Once again, Baal's connecting. A little bit messy here by Erik, a little bit, but the Locust Wave is about to be reset once again. And he's going for it. He's going for the Locust. Pushing towards the main army, buying more time. No Ultralists yet, as we do have the Ultra Cavern and the upgrades are finishing. Oh, actually he still gets the base. He still takes down the expansion. MasTeR is 3 base all in. Locust Wave is on cooldown. True. It's on cooldown. So they try to collapse on the Swarm Host. They get one. Barely one Swarm Host. And now we have Ultra Reinforcements. Now we have the Ultralists. They're coming. 3 Infestors on the way. 2 Ultras as well. GG gets called. We're going to get to see the Ultras as Erik. He will overwhelm. He will claim this series 4-3, becoming the Amantes de StarCraft number 45 champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a very bold move going Swarm Host against an aggressive Protoss this time, and it was scary. It was a scary moment for sure. I do appreciate that, again, Erik, he was staggering his Locust Waves to make sure he always had a Locust Wave behind it early on against the first aggressive move, against the first push. In the end, he was able to punish those Stalkers, and then he was quite greedy, holding onto that Locust Wave a little bit longer. In the end, he held on. He was able to get across the map and kill that forward expansion, specifically on 10,000 feet. That forward base is exposed. That's why it's a forward expansion. It is further and closer to your opponent. It has the mineral line facing your opponent as well, so it's a reverse backwards base, and it is vulnerable to siege units. So typically we say that it's vulnerable to tanks, lurkers, broodlords, tempests. These kind of units do punish that center expansion. Swarm hosts also fall under that as well, and they were able to break that nexus 2-3 different times and deal devastating damage. GG, well played. So again, I should emphasize as well, if you watch this game and if you're inspired, that specifically one of the strengths of going Swarm Host here was the map itself, right? Was 10,000 feet. The fact that that's a reverse base, so it is more vulnerable and more exposed to Locust Waves to be able to punish the economy and punish the expansion itself, and Erik was able to make full use of that. But it was still very impressive that Erik survived the initial Stalker push with those Swarm Hosts as well. GG. Whew. GG, well played. With that, congratulations, Erik. He will claim the series. He will take down MasTeR. GG, very well done, very well played. And shout out to MasTeR, because we had an intense back and forth here. Again, MasTeR and Erik, they are the 2 best players in Brazil. They often have these back and forth moments, and they often have these close kind of series. They're the darkened hero of Brazil. True. Often back and forth. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Erik, and a shout out to MasTeR again for being our finalist here and for making it all the way to the ace match and for almost winning it himself. It was very tense for sure. Likewise, a shout out to CranKy. CranKy got top 3. Who typically we have Inexorable in the top 3 instead as the best Terran in Brazil, but no, CranKy did surpass Inexorable this month and did take that mantle himself. So very impressive play out of CranKy. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be wrapping up here for the morning. Going to be wrapping up here. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, the rest of our broadcasting, we should be live later on tonight with Tuna Cup. We have the Sparkling Tuna Cup this evening. Likewise, we also have more content throughout the course of the week. We have What Is New Mondays. We have Pigstar Cups as well. So plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to be wrapping up here. We also have the podcasts, and we have plenty of content throughout the week. I will say that tentatively we have a cast every day, but only tentatively. There have been things happening IRL, and because of that, I might be unavailable one of these days. Same with the morning broadcast as well, so it's all a little bit tentative. It's all up in the air. Just as a heads up. So if you see like one of these days we don't end up casting one of our scheduled events like that, it could happen this week, could happen. So just bear that in mind. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and take care. We'll see you guys later on tonight for Tuna Cup, for the Sparkling Tuna Cup. We'll see you tomorrow for Pigstar Cup as well. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. If you want to support us, you can do so via following us. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias out there. If you want to follow us. Otherwise, you can check us out over on Patreon as well. Our Patreon is set up to fund our tournaments on a regular basis, so you can help support and fund Tuna Cup via the Patreon as well, and help support us. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support, and we'll see you guys next time we'll see you guys later on tonight for Tuna Cup, or we'll see you tomorrow for Pigstar Cup. See you then. Hasta luego. Ciao. Bye. Ciao. Hasta luego.